So I got my wide margin King James Version Thompson Chain Reference Bible in yesterday. I didn't have a whole lot of time to introduce it, but this is my third time having it. I hadn't had a wide margin in quite some time. So as you can see, you got a lot of room to write and stuff. And anyway, it's pretty neat. It's pretty heavy too. So I used to call them Big Daddy Bibles. Ooh, Big Daddy. This is a Big Daddy Bible. Yes, sir. That's what I used to call them. I used to call, I get these thing Bibles in, and I like, Big Daddy Bible. Slap it. Slap that Bible. Big Daddy. Anyway, that was a long time ago. That was about 10, 11 years ago. Well, but anyway, let's go to chapter 12 of Acts, and let's just see about this Easter thing. I was of the mind that Easter is a pagan holiday. Okay, because based on how it read, and it looked like that Herod, which is Herod Agrippa, was he celebrated that. So I was assuming that's what it was all about. But I don't really think that's the case, though. Looking into it a little bit more, and me and my son were talking about it, and he's doing a sermon on it on Wednesday. So I think he is at least something regarding about it or whatever. It's in Acts 12, verse 4. It's kind of hard to do this when you're doing it one-handed, hold the camera, Acts 12, verse 4. Okay, so let's just read this together. And I'll start in verse 3. Well, it tells you about time Herod the king stretched forth his hand to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with a sword, because he saw it pleased the Jews. It pleased the Jews. He proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread. Okay, so that's in parentheses. And it says, and when they had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quarterings of soldiers to keep him intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people. Of course, as we know, Easter isn't Passover, as we should know. It's not Passover, because why would he wait a whole year for that to come back around if it was already the days of unleavened bread? But here's the thing about that. It's specific about what it says here in verse 4, and it leads into 3, and it leads into verse 4. Then were the days of unleavened bread. So intending after Easter, so it must be a time that is after the days of unleavened bread. But also, too, there's a connection between the first fruits. The first fruits which is within the feast of unleavened bread. So Jesus Christ, of course, being the first fruits, the resurrection of those saints that rose up after the Lord had come back from the dead, he took captivity captive, those who were in Abraham's bosom, of course, and they let captivity captive, and of course he rose. And of course we do know too that the first fruits, those people who had died that were saints, they rose up and they went into the towns and everything. And of course they were known by the people. They were random people, of course, but like I said, first fruits. So anyway, that could be what Easter really is, first fruits. But it was used one time. The word Easter is used once. So it was just a one-time word. It could have been another name for first fruits or part of unleavened bread. So maybe it's not a pagan holiday, but it just sounded really close to it because the Ashtaroth, Ashtoreth, Ishthar, And, at the same time, I think if we look into what the Bible says, especially when we would read about Queen Esther, the the Esther is another word for Ishtar, right? So even though she was pretty much named after a goddess of the Persians or what have you, she took that name and she made it mean something. Her real name was Hadassah. So what the devil meant for evil, God meant for good. And so that could be the same situation with her name from Ishtar to Esther, which is the same name, just the way you pronounce it. And so the same thing with Easter. What people meant for evil regarding Easter, the pagan holidays, God meant it for good. So Easter could mean, of course, the Lord's resurrection, which is not Passover, is after Passover, or that of the first fruits. So you never know. Anyway, so there's a possibility that the first use of Easter isn't to regarding Herod Agrippa, but he did play sides. He played the Romans and he played the Jews, of course, so the Jews wouldn't revolt. So he played both sides. Anyway, my thing earlier was that why would Herod celebrate Easter if he was a pagan? But it kind of suggests that even though he might have had belief situations of what he believed in, it's possibly that he have some Jewish descendancy in him. Probably was practiced Jewry. So it's possible that that Easter again could mean the the first fruits, in which in this case the Christians used it for the Lord's resurrection. Kind of like Christmas and Saturnalia. It was the pagan holiday of Saturnalia. It was 25th December, but Christians use it for Jesus' birth, of course. Anyway, why is it a very sad day for all of us? Don't know. Why is it very sad? What happened? Somebody died? Somebody got on here. Somebody. Oh, very sad day. But anyway, just wanted to share that real quick. Easter is possibly meaning something that has something to do with the Feast of Unleavened Bread. Within that, possibly the first fruits. So I thought I would share that real quick. And I hope y'all have a good one. And we'll see you later. Thanks.